How you doing? Sharif Talib here, the Math Fixer. So I've got a little analogy for parents to think about with your children in mathematics. Now, I'm going to compare math or learning math in school to driving a car, specifically a stick shift. Now, even if you don't know how to drive a stick shift, you've seen the mechanics. You got to know about the shifting, the neutral, the first, second, third. You got to be able to balance the clutch and the gas, and you got to be able to still look out all three mirrors, each side and your rearview mirror. So knowing how to add, subtract, multiply, divide, knowing your arithmetic, knowing combining like terms and distributive property, and then inverse operations, knowing these things is like knowing how to shift the gears, knowing where the mirror is, knowing the foot pedals for the gas and the clutch and working those. So knowing those parts of math, add your arithmetic, all four operations, the order of operations, combining like terms and distributive property, and then inverse operations. Knowing these things is like knowing how to drive. Now, when you go to a new class, all your teacher is doing is showing you different ways to use those things. It's like getting a map. So if you know how to drive and someone gives you a map, it's easy to follow the map while you're driving. And then eventually you learn on your own. You may not even know the street names, but you know the landmarks. When I get to the big tree, I turn, and then when I get to the yellow house, I do this. You figure out, you learn landmarks. So that's the same thing with learning math. Now, if a child does not have those basics down, imagine trying to drive a stick and read the map. You won't even get out the parking lot because you don't know how to balance the clutch and the gas. You don't know where first gear is, and you're trying to look at the map. So that's what our children are going through when they're in school and they don't have these foundation skills. They're too busy thinking about how do I multiply, how do I do distributive property, how do I do inverse operations, instead of looking at what the teacher is showing them, the map. They're not looking at the map anymore. They're too busy trying to figure out which gas pedal, where's the gas pedal, what's the clutch, what gear was this, and So if your children don't have those foundation skills down, that's what it feels like to them in class. They're not able to seriously pay attention to what the teacher is saying because they're too busy trying to remember this stuff that should be coming to them like this. Should be coming to them like this. So if you really want to help your students or your children become better math students, all four operations. If the child is 6th grade and below, they should be working with whole numbers, just positive numbers. Add, subtract, multiply, divide solidly. If they've done combining like terms, they should be doing that. I've never taught anything below 8th grade. I actually taught it, I tutor, but I've never taught anything below 8th grade. But once they get to 7th grade, they need to start working with integers, the positive and negative numbers. Add, subtract, multiply, divide, integers, positive, negative numbers. If you get to the 8th grade and you don't have your integer rules down, you are in for a hard road because you're trying to learn stuff that you were already supposed to know and learn the new stuff that I'm trying to teach now. So that's why math is like driving a stick shift. So make sure your children know how to drive before they get to the class. Okay.